What's up, everybody? This is Clint from the Diehard MMA Podcast for Odds.com. Make sure you check out UFC Vegas 21, the podcast. Click the link below. Head on over to Odds.com. Check it out. We broke it all down with my boy Gianni, the Greek. We got some really good stuff this week. Hit the link. Hit the like. Good luck on all your action. You have a great week. Middleweight fight here. Eryk "ya boy" Anders, 13-5, taking on Darren the Dentist Stewart, who is 12-6. Eryk Anders is a guy who they really pushed, big-time athlete, big dude, athletic, hard-hitting, but he just never quite got there. He never evolved as a fighter. His game never changed, and he became very, very easy to game plan for and started taking some L's that maybe he shouldn't after fighting guys like Lyoto Machida. Like, he was headed the right direction, and then he just tanked and went the wrong way. Darren Stewart, a guy who's been kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here at the division, finally got a big step up, really impressed against Kevin Holland. He's coming off a couple wins back-to-back, choked out, coconut bombs, a current UFC fan favorite type of guy. And now he's instilled as a big favorite here in this fight. We've got Darren Stewart all the way up to minus 200 in some places, minus 190, minus 185. The comeback on your boy, he's anywhere from plus 155 to plus 165. What's your take here on this one, Gianni?
I'll tell you, you got two middleweights that below middleweight average finishers, number one. And that's why this one's favored to go to distance, the 2.5 over minus 125. But you're starting to see money come in on the no. The yes was minus 165, now down to minus 125. So you're seeing some money come in against the trend of both these guys. What does that tell me? I lean to the Darren Stewart side. The problem is the price. Two opposite trajectories is what the data shows. And here's what I mean. Two guys that similar records, 13-5 as a pro, 12-6 as a pro, both 18 pro fights. One's 5-5 in the UFC, the other's 5-5 in the UFC. Both 10 pro fights in the UFC, both 500 fighters in the UFC. Here's the big difference that the data at least shows. And you nailed it. Early on is when Eryk Anders had his success. He started 3-1, where Darren Stewart started 0-3. Stewart's evolving. His trajectory is going positive, and Anders has been going negative. And to me, I just don't see enough line value to look at the dog when he's not a finisher, fades late, and even with this line, at least the prop on the total rounds, whether it'll go to distance or not, showing the no, I lean the Stewart side. I just don't. I don't know if I could justify laying that price. You know what I mean? That he should be a minus 220, 240 favorite. Because when he did get the minus 225, you saw resistance. Mm-hmm. You did see sharp money come in and bet the underdog. And I don't think that was, I don't know if it was plus EV, but I don't think it's that off either. Because even if it does go to the judges' scorecards, now it's a middleweight bout that went to the judges, and you're laying close to minus 200 for that privilege. I just don't see it. So to me, it's a stay away. If I have to pick the winner, I'm going to pick Stewart. He's the favorite. The market says minus 185. He should win 65% of the time. I'm not going to buck that. Yeah, I agree with it, but I don't think there's betting value there.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be on an island on this one, Gianni. I took a shot on Eryk Anders, and
Good for you.
I'm taking a 2-unit stab here, so it's a bigger bet than normal here for me. So what I've been banging on about with Eryk Anders, if anybody who follows me, if anybody who's tuned into this podcast before knows, all we do is fade this guy. I've bet against him at every opportunity possible because he simply does not evolve. He squeezed away from us with a split decision win, which I feel like he may have lost against Gerald Meerschaert just a couple fights ago, and then he lost again against Krzysztof Jotko. He has finally done what I've been begging him to do this entire time, Gianni. He moved out to fight ready. If those of you who know, Fight Ready is the camp that really took Cejudo to the next level. This guy finally is going out to train with champion caliber training partners. He's getting out of his small pond where he's the big dog, where he can just bully anybody around, and he's training with world-class coaches that have a game plan for him. A gym that has proven to take fighters physically to the next level, and I think they'll really be able to harness his athletic ability that's kind of just faded away over his last couple fights because he's gotten away from using it. So that's the sign to me.
Do you think it's possible still? Because he's a freak athlete, obviously. We know that pre-UFC. You don't play for Alabama by accident. You know
exactly.
What I mean? Like there's so many Division I schools and the best in the world on the whole planet not to get to go to Alabama to play football. You know what I mean? Whether if you're on the bench in Alabama, you could probably start pretty much anywhere else.
Exactly.
So if anything, but has he taken too much punishment, you think, with football, with MMA to continue evolving, or no? I don't know. I'm asking.
So I don't personally think that he has. I mean, you look at his fights and the majority of them have been relatively low volume. He's not one of these guys. He's not Dustin Poirier getting hit with, 115 significant strikes every single fight. He's dealing with 40 significant strikes. He's dealing with 60 significant strikes. He knocks a dude out in the first round. He only got hit twice. Like, you know what I mean? He doesn't have as much wear and tear. And I think he's just been floating on his raw athleticism here. And the other thing, Gianni, is honestly, I don't think Darren Stewart is all that. And I know you mentioned it's a trajectory thing, but he back in 2020 got completely mauled by Bartosz Fabinski, who's a guy who at this point in his career, I don't think is UFC caliber. He's also a guy that was a weight class below that came in as a huge underdog and took out Darren Stewart. Darren Stewart's wins, let me go through this. Eryk Spicely, a guy that's been cut by the UFC twice. Charles Byrd, a guy with no chin, whom he knocked out, that is no longer with the UFC. Bevon Lewis, maybe the biggest bust of a prospect that we've had over the last couple of years. Deron Winn, a split decision, which he probably lost, against the guy who is barely hanging on to his job in the UFC. And then Maki Pitolo, a guy who belongs a weight class down, who is knockout or bust, and hasn't shown any improvements except for his last fight. He's got no credible wins in the UFC, and here he is a minus 200 favorite. I think that this should be a coin flip. Eryk Anders is bigger. He's got a reach advantage. He's fought the higher level of competition. As I mentioned before, he went toe-to-toe with Thiago Santos. He fought Lyoto Machida. He fought Gerald Meerschaert, Khalil Roundtree. Like, even though these guys, like some of those names are championship caliber, and the other ones, even though they aren't, are UFC veterans. I think there's a huge gap here, and I think he's way overlooked as an underdog. I'm all in on your boy this week.
Wow. Good for you, man. Listen, I can tell you that the two models we ran, both would support the Anders side as far as price. Both show Stewart winning around 55% of the time. He shouldn't even be minus 150. Right around there is what the line should be. But the only reason, based on the models, I should be on the Anders side. The only reason I'm not is because that trajectory and that net, like if it was a higher plus, I would probably take that side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But good bet, man. Good for you. Good bet.
And like, I love being on an island, Gianni. I feel like I do the best when I'm the only one.
You're going to be on an island for sure. For sure.
Well, and I want to point out
he's going to be on
my
so
guy.
many parlays because as long as if he stays under 200, he's going to be on so many parlays.
Absolutely. And Tom, I want to acknowledge this here, asking whether or not he's motivated. The gym change is the key. The gym change is the key. If he wasn't motivated to improve, he'd stay where he was. He'd stay with his home gym. He'd be the big dog. He'd collect a couple more UFC paychecks. He wouldn't bother changing anything up. He wouldn't bother working hard or learning or getting adjusted to a new coach. That's the whole crux of my argument here. If Eryk Anders had not moved, this fight would be a complete pass and a stay away for me because I would lean with the favorite and want to pass, but I'm seeing exactly what I need to see from Anders, and that's enough to push me over to the edge on a fight that I feel like at worst should be 50-50.
I won't go against you, brother. I won't fade it. I'm not fading it. I won't fade it. For me, it'll be that. It's like if you've got to pick the winner, the favorite probably should win. You know what I mean? But like I said, I wouldn't bet Stewart. No way. It would be Anders or pass if you have to bet it.
I feel like this. I feel like this is almost a trap line, Gianni. I know we don't see those that often in MMA.
Books are going to be on your side for sure. Like that could wipe out a ton of parlay. As a bookmaker, that'll be a parlay killer for sure.
Absolutely.
It's under that -200.
Absolutely. It's going to be in everything.